I don't give a Dom, you found it today? Damn, dog. You should be making content. You should be making some content, bro.
If I am not late, did I really show up?
I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn.
She's under the keyboard, finding every crumb.
I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn.
Safari hat on. Here she comes.
Event planning detective, searching for truth. She's a lot like Moss, she'll grow on you. She's just a girl with ADHD, educated in the cornfield, allegedly. Marsh clocking hundreds of messages in the AM. He's probably rolling his eyes, but y'all pray for him.
Don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. She's under the keyboard, finding every crumb. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. Safari hat on. Here she comes.
So bear with me.
In my opinion, allegedly. I don't give a damn.
I don't give a Dom. I do. Speaking of I don't give a Dom, did you ever put your story out? I'd like to read it or see it, watch it.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. And if I'm not late, did I even show up? Today, we are going to talk about the thoughts I have about Lance Twiggs and some of these drawings that are reported to be from him. Because I wonder if Lance Twiggs is the great artist of our time after reviewing these. And then looking at the AES report that recently came out in the past month and a half as well. Because the drawings do seem to be a little bit suspicious. Whether they're from him or not, I cannot confirm. So full disclosure, I do want to say this video today is me reviewing the post and the video that Turkey Tom posted last year in the fall, where he was reportedly given all of these drawings and Discord messages and things that were reported to be from Lance Twiggs. Again, there has not really been a confirmation from Lance or from his family or certain things of that nature that they are his drawings. But I feel like you can also come to the conclusion that some of those Discord messages may be from him, or at least that is what the court filings are saying as well. But I am just reviewing information that's been publicized, and I am not making any accusations. So thank you all for coming. I also am going to read this fair use copyright disclaimer. So under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. And I may be criticizing his ability to write properly. I'm just joking. But I also wanted to let you know I'm going to try to cull today down to a shorter show because I would like to watch Barron at 6 p.m. So I will look at the chat from time to time today. But I apologize if I'm not interacting as much as I should. I just want to make sure that I'm being mindful of everyone's time that's here today. And it's also rainy Sunday afternoon here. So if you want to take a nap, you can do that after as well. So the very first thing I'm going to do is do a short intro. 1 second. Because I have to share all these different okay. Things. All right, I'm going to hit play for just a little bit to explain this, and then we'll dive right into it.
Point that our leaker here sent an extensive set of pictures he'd taken of the state of the apartment and the notes Lance left around. First is an image of their magic table, completely vandalized with garbage that mostly resembles electrical stuff, which is odd because Tyler was the one in an electrical apprenticeship program, not Lance. In the background, we can see what looks to be some kind of aquarium or big glass container with rocks in it, which may be the mold experiments mentioned in the messages. Underneath it is what looks to be a package for a rock tumbler, which makes sense given that Tyler occasionally did masonry with his dad. But it's when we move to what's actually on the table that things get increasingly bizarre. And we have isolated pictures of all of the particularly interesting items. I'm going to say right now that I'm actually a specialist in literally nothing. So this is just going to be me trying to interpret these to the best of my abilities. And the screenshots I'll be looking at will be made available in the description for those of you who want to take a look for yourself and see if you can extract some sense out of the madness of Lance's Post-it notes. The first one we'll go over is this one, which contains a set of spiral-like scribbles that may be disconnected attempts at making the Glock logo, given the squared spiral G and the word lock near it. Right above this, there's also what looks to be the small phrase E equals T, and elsewhere on the note, I can also make out the words regent and temp, although I have no idea if this is alluding to anything in particular. On the right side of the image, another Post-it has the sentence, all of separate, underneath what looks to be the portmanteau, no linguals. This is very rough to make out, obviously, but bilingual means that someone knows 2 languages. Monolingual means that someone knows 1. Therefore, no lingual would mean someone who knows no languages or someone who is nonverbal. The next set of scribbles is a bit more cohesive, although I'm using that word pretty loosely here at this point. Here we can see stop looking for others at the top and Terraria Buggin Tear Ableist in the middle, which I think may be some wordplay with terrible and ableist. At the bottom of this page, an illustrated version of the word sine wave is written above lose it at the tude, next to a picture of some bizarre looking animal. This at the tude bit to me is very reminiscent of how schizophrenic people will break words down and obsess with syllables, word morphology, and portmanteaus. There's another example of this in one of the Post-it notes where he writes, I'm alone, obviously doing what I'm talking about here. On another page, we have Monsumus Sumptuous right at the top, followed by SFTU Piteous, which I assume is like, shut the...
Okay, and throughout these, you will see the STFU. It's in there at least, I think, 9-ish times. And I reviewed these drawings with a few other people. And someone else noticed how many times that was in there as well. And I will show that because I have a picture of what everyone thought looking at these drawings. And that's how I'm going to review it one by one, not looking at each one and then saying, this is what all 4 of us think about this. So yeah, just to let you know, the STFU is on there a lot. And then there is also an AES. If anyone remembers what AES stood for, about a month after Charlie left this earth.
Flip up, idiots, maybe. Further down the page, there's a rough sketch of America with the number 21.0 inside of it. And nearby, phrases like go to the store and small box.
I also want to mention here, if anyone is drawing America like that, you may need a map, some art classes, and just that's a lot going on there. So if anyone thinks that this I mean, I feel like it does symbolize America a little bit, but if that's your version and you're looking at a map or an atlas or anything, and that's what you get, you should probably go back to art school and not try to lead a military like somebody did in World War II. It's a little bit weird.
Go listen to act. A lot of this stuff reads like Lance is just writing his mundane thoughts or whatever he's seeing on his phone in the most cryptic and insane way possible, but some of it does stand out to me as potentially meaningful or at least consistent. On a Post-it note, he writes down TY and miss my BF, obviously in reference to Tyler. On another one, we have stop crying, stop stopping, and in one of the pages, we have the phrase full stop, very jagged at the bottom, although this may be bull or something else. On this page, there's something pretty interesting, as the words federated and fed-related are right next to what looks to be the word CIA. And further down, a drawing of 4 symbols that ever so slightly resemble what you'd see on a set of Zener cards. If you're not familiar with what these are, Zener or Zener cards were created in the early 20th century to test if people had extrasensory perception, and much later on, they were frequently reported as being used in gifted and talented education programs. There are a lot of conspiracy theories surrounding this topic, some of them being more credible than others, but they typically have to do with the CIA project MKUltra, and how GATE may be some kind of offshoot of it. I won't get into the merits of these theories, not only because Wendigoon should be the one to do that, but also because it doesn't really matter as much as the reason why people are drawn to this topic online in the first place. You see, if you check on Reddit, the majority of people who engage in discussions about the nature of GATE programs are people who were in GATE themselves, obviously, meaning they were, at some point, considered to be gifted. You may have already heard about this, but there's a sizable phenomenon of gifted kid burnout, where people who used to be overachievers in their childhood, usually in the academic sense, could no longer keep up as they got older, and so their life spiraled out of control. Part of this phenomenon is that when they can't get over their attachment to how they were treated when they were seen as special, they come up with all sorts of extraneous reasons to justify their decline and convince themselves that they're still gifted in some way. Given that Lance is quite literally documented on video as a gifted kid, being an adept piano player from a young age, and his life definitely went downhill as he got older, it would make sense for Lance, in one of his weed, paranoia, alcohol, and hallucinogen real maxing binges, to stumble upon this stuff while doom scrolling and decide to scribble about it. This notion that Lance is still attached to the idea he's special or somehow intellectually gifted is later corroborated by this anonymous peer. But even just examining his projects, Lance clearly thinks.
Okay, so that's a good overview of where these came from, and I wanted to give full credit to Turkey Tom for posting these. Again, it's pretty much impossible to confirm or deny that these are actually his drawings, but I do want to mention that he has these posted in the link below that video, and I'll put it in the description today at the end of the show if you would like to look at it yourself, under Anon Bird on Substack. And he has all of the messages and different things that were sent to him, kind of describing Lance in whole of what was reported to him, with all of the photos as well. So if you would like to take a look at that, you can. And these are what we're going to talk about today, these lovely works of art. The first time I actually looked at these, I don't know why. And I know that they could be planted, but I just couldn't stop looking at them. And it's because I kept seeing weird things, like this AES right here is what I see if you tilt your head, AES. And a lot of just different things like hormonal flux. Definitely, it looks like there's a Faraday cage or certain things drawn on these. Text to mommy. Look out for shit. I mean, he says the S word, go to store, drop. And then from an aerial view, I kept seeing, and I know that it's just the way my brain works, but I kept seeing what looked like the map that's been posted a million times about what happened at Utah Valley University. So I am going to just get into the other screen. 1 second. Okay. So these are all the drawings that I have. I want to see if this makes it easier for. Okay. So this makes it bigger. So as we were looking at these, I have an icon for the people that reviewed these and gave feedback on what they thought. Oops, I zoomed in on the wrong thing. That's awkward. I've zoomed in on StreamYard and I was like, why is it all so messed up? I'm really big on pattern recognition. So some of the things I realized is that it looks like if there is anything that he was trying to write for himself later or planning with anyone, or if multiple people were aware of this, again, I am not insinuating that these are actually Lance's drawings, but they are being reported to be Lance's drawings. And I think that it's also plausible that someone else drew these, someone that might have known what was going on based on some theories that are out there about an explosion and different things in the 911 calls. So I started to also realize it looks like there's a lot of patterns with the way that the writing's going. And this one's really sloppy because I was explaining it to one of the people, but it was going like diagonal, saying like out for CI or out for certain things. I have it written better over here, so I'm just going to go to the main one anyways. Okay, so the very first one I have by my good friend Squirrel. And these are his thoughts on it. So when Squirrel looked at this, he was looking at it in whole. And one of the things we noticed, so if anyone wants to look into this, there are 2 photos, I think at least 2, reported to be whoever took these photos, which was a mutual friend of someone that lived around or played Magic with both Lance and Tyler in St. George. The feet are in these. So you'll see these feet twice. And if anyone wants to figure out who these feet belong to, I think that that could be helpful to see if these are something that are planted or if people could just figure out a little bit more to this puzzle, because I do think it could be planted to make people look guilty as well. So one of the things Squirrel saw was X marks the spot, and then he saw a satellite over here on this left side, and he also went through and nicely highlighted what he saw as well. And then moving on, so the next thing is there is, I don't think I can open that, but Miss Bree, which you can see her wonderful icon right here, she was talking about a Faraday cage and how to build it at home, which I found to be really interesting. Reviewing all of this as well. And sorry, I had a bunch of things I had to exit out of. And then this one's mine. So, oops. I did that thing where I click on things I'm not supposed to click on. All right, 1 second. Oh, no. If I just stop presenting, does it? Oh, that's nice. I'm going to do it like this because it's less annoying. So, this is what I looked at. I did notice like the Pokemon Mew over here. I noticed ornament over here. And when I was reviewing that, something that decorates or adorns is an embellishment, you know, like a Christmas ornament, but it can also be a note or group of notes that embellishes a melody, which I found to be really interesting with the sound that we hear. Bree was referring to, and I think the drawing may be below, so I'll pull that up if it's on there. This Faraday cage right here that someone else we know named Grace had mentioned as well. I see final when I'm looking at this that really stood out to me. Also clear the air. So I feel like that can mean a lot of different things if people were working together or literally clearing the air just physically, I guess, if it was nasty with some type of explosion, who knows? Oh no, this made it worse. Awkward. All right. And then danger was over here. And then get over it. I thought that was real interesting. And then we have those toes up on there again. But there's a lot more on here, you know, temp, stop, lots of things. So then I think I'm supposed to go left to right. Yeah, I am. All right. So then moving on to the next one by Squirrel. We have a breadboard up here, which is something to do with computers and buildings, stuff and things. So that is exciting as well. And then also there's a custom connect the dots holes. That one made me laugh. That that's on here as a thought. So this is what a breadboard looks like, way out of my expertise. But Marsh was explaining it to me that people use these sometimes for different, this one looks terrifying. I'm just going to say that. I don't know if they all look like this, but it's for personal and custom things with gaming and different things as well, from what I understand. So you might be copying something else in there, but it is interesting. And then the custom connect the dots, denialism is what he saw. Stop at see you forever. Flux equals solder. So solder. And then here's mine. So I think I turned mine sideways. Yeah, I did because I'm weird. I noticed hormonal flux is way, which I found to be interesting with some of the things that were reported on. Stop at see you ever. VOV and Volv, which I felt like could be something related to voltage specifically, maybe misspelled, or just a little bit more custom as well. I don't know if you're trying to tell me something, squirrel, but I'm sorry if you are, and I'm not. Oh. Okay. Okay. That's okay. That it's solder then. I'm saying it wrong, like solder is what you're saying. I figured that as soon as I said it, I was like, that sounds so wrong. That sounds like when I used to say facade instead of facade. Soldering, iron. Okay. Am I saying that right? Soldering iron. If I'm not saying it right, I was educated in a cornfield, so that's just how it is. And then the other things I saw on here were orchid, denial, definitely or defiantly. I feel like there's a lot of play on words going on here as well. And then on here, Dabu, one of the ones that talked about noticing STFU was written 9 times, which I did feel like was a little bit excessive throughout this. I mean, I don't know how many times you would need to say STFU, but it's a little bit weird. Why is this doing this again? It's because I clicked on something, guys. Oopsies. I won't click ever again. So that's why it's on there like that. STFU, and W was the one that counted that. And then moving on. So this one is also from Squirrel. Search and tutor a video. Every drawing seemed to be a pen or a marker, and there was a pen and a marker that we saw. Specifically here, a mechanical pencil that looked like it was shaded. I also do want to note something because I don't know if I put this on mine. Throughout this, we were looking and saw, soldering. Thank you. This thing that says note right here made me super suspicious, which again, it's nothing you can prove, but there is an alleged note that was reported to be under a keyboard that somebody took pictures of, which I feel like is a really weird thing to then destroy. So that doesn't make any sense to me, but to each their own. And I didn't know if that was a reminder if someone's planting all of these types of things. Here's this one plain. I also have been doing a little bit of research into what is this business card, because I think that there may be a little bit more to this if these are reported to be somebody that's involved with September 10th. I think that the tutorial video on here and then flip me over with the QR code and keep in mind and certain things are a little bit suspicious. It could be nothing, but I mean, looking at it, it was kind of talking about a lot of different things. We were sounding out and looking at episodes and different things. Is it a mental health card? I'm not really sure. I'm going to zoom out because I clicked again like a horrible person. But I just think it's super suspicious. I also wanted to note this book right here, and Bree pointed out on this one right here where you can see note, and then you can see that there is a star in what almost looks to be like a hole-in-one flag right here that she outlined in red with a bunch of arrows, and then what looks like to be somebody or something important up here looking at the star with the arrows and the hole-in-one type thing. So when we're looking at these, why this really stood out to me in the first place is because I wish I could share like multiple screens at a time. I probably could, but listen, that's too much to be doing at once. And then I'm going to be a literal squirrel all over the place. So what we have going on here, if you are looking at the aerial view on Google Earth, I'll do it this way. My camera is right behind where I have this on the screen, so sorry. Let me make sure that it's a little bit better. Okay, so that one that we just looked at, what I see is from the aerial view, and I've looked at this quite a bit, in my opinion, looks like it could represent somebody being in this area and the hole-in-one being up here. And it's also a very, I mean, it's kind of a straight line a little bit, but you have that building in the way. And then you have a lot of things going on here. I went through and I mapped out different things where I saw police officers at certain points. I also mapped out where I could see all of the cameras as well on campus. And I also am a crazy person, I guess, because I went through and like did it in a lot of different places that were reported for certain things. Like the hospital, I went through and mapped every single camera that's at that hospital, all of the public cameras and everything else, because I've always been really interested in how we're all monitored as well. So this is where we are reported for that person to have been that took that alleged shot on September 10th and then exits the roof back here, jumps, walks through here, and walks away. I will say the other weird thing that they don't talk about a lot is that you have to enter the roof through this weird stair area where there's another set of stairs. That's really bizarre. So you come up here where that recent video was released, and they're coming up here, and we saw people walking in all black. You would have to come up here as well. And then there are literal steps to get up to this walkway that goes to the roof of the Losi Center. So the reported footage that was released is from this one camera right here. I also thought it was real weird looking at the other cameras and then the new walkway they just kind of built over the road. That there's only this many cameras in the area over here. I feel like you would install some new ones. Maybe Orm's a little bit different because it's Utah and things like this typically don't happen there. But I thought it was just a little bit weird that there weren't more cameras, especially with the age of the different buildings. So that was a weird thing for me. But I'm not an architect, so also not an expert on that. And I'm also in over my head looking at these too. So these are just my opinion from review and other people's opinions as well. So there's that one again. Also, Bree found that these were drawn in the Nikola Tesla book. That's literally called The Inventors, Researchers, and Writings of Nikola Tesla, which is quite interesting with the theories that are going on right now. So then what Bree also saw was bitter or biter, a chicken. She saw STFU and a hinge when she was reviewing. Oh, this one's mine. I also really like feta cheese, so that just made me laugh. And then she saw just chill, slow up. So when I was looking at this one, what I saw was throw with an arrow, you learn, feta. And feta, from what I was looking up, a lot of acronyms that I saw throughout this whole thing, can mean a few, I clicked on the wrong thing again, can mean a few different things. But generally, it is the Foreign Exchange Transactions Act or the Fully Executed Team Agreement. So U.S. federal contracting. In the review of the different theories that are out there about this, I thought that that was really weird. I also see the beta in there. I think that that's possible, that could be that as well. So yeah. And I do apologize if there are any issues with the bot. I see a comment in there. I will review that afterwards. And just wanted to apologize in advance for that. So, then there is speak to star, just chill, show up. This looks like the barrel of a sniper. Stop it, STFU again. It's weird because that one, like the T and the F, look a lot bigger. Easy. I didn't know if that means easy. And then it seems to be like a cat mixed with a little bit of an oxalotl, to me, in my opinion, by mute or mute X or mut X. And I'm like, okay, are we calling someone a dog? That's your X? Are we muting somebody? I also see what looks like to me to be a walkway here or a road. And to me, it looks like a crosswalk when I'm looking at this right here, or stairs. So when we just looked at that aerial view and all of this, and I'm reviewing these drawings again, I'm like, what is going on here? Because it seems to me like whoever drew these kind of knew what was going on, whether it's somebody that planted them or whether it's somebody that drew them and planned it out. So either way, real weird. Outs on here, noom, in my opinion, or undoom, because it looks like there's a lot of spelling errors in here as well. I feel like this could be a person or a frog. And then when I see that it looks like a Lego person kind of like laying down, and then I see these arrow type things, I'm like, okay, looking at the aerial view, the courtyard has a bunch of those triangular layers going on from an aerial view as well, which is real weird to me. I also wanted to note that a biter is somebody or something that bites, often used to describe a person or animal that does so habitually or viciously, but that it also can refer to a fish that tends to take the bait or term used in various contexts like gaming or slang. So when we think about the profiles that we keep seeing about, like your friendly fish finder and everything else, when we see that term that can be slang of taking the bait and everything else, I feel like there might be some insinuation there as well. And I think that the more people that look at this and have their own opinions or work on this together would be great as well. So it's just really interesting. Looking at them in a whole. So, and then I also wanted to say, looking at this, I kept seeing this like weird, to me, this looks like somebody like getting off of a roof almost. Like if this is where somebody was at, and then you were going off the other side, and then you were going and putting another star here where you were like dropping something that would be kind of like in the wood area. I feel like it's real weird and suspicious when we're looking at all of this at a whole from a more 20,000 foot view rather than a 10,000 foot view. What are you, biter? Yes. Sorry, I don't know if you were pointing that out to me. And then also over here, I see problems to drama, and that's what Squirrel was reporting on there as well. Zooming out and zooming back in. So then we have another squirrel going crazy over here. So he pointed out a human right here. I mean, that is a human. For me, I'm like, do you literally mean a freaking human on the table? Alphabet. Thank you for that one, squirrel. And then hot glue, the hot glue gun. I actually have a really funny hot glue gun story from when I was a kid. I'll have to tell sometime. And then here's the one that I reviewed. I see on here, if we're looking at it and we kind of turn the whole thing, I see die right here. Stop trying, eat it, mopey or nope. I see a lot of different things that I didn't want to insinuate, but these were just the general things. I also wanted to note something that I did think was really weird looking at this, and again, could just be a crazy coincidence, And I'm not saying that we know the artist of these things, but I do feel like you could tell by the nail beds and the fingers of somebody to identify who drew these or who reportedly took these and turned them in, because this is a very specific looking thumb that has a really bitten. I don't even know, but they really bit that nail down. And then you see 1206 and 1205 here. And something that I wanted to know, let me pull that up real quick. I separated it in different tabs. Where did I put that one? Okay, so it's reported that the person arrived on campus at 11:52 a.m., and this one's according to the New York Times. Around 12:20, shortly after he began speaking, Charlie the event took place that we all saw on camera from the person on the third floor of the Losi Center. And a lot of different timelines kind of all say that same general thing. But we're told that he began speaking at 12 o'clock. I actually think it's a little bit delayed by a few minutes. He was just a few minutes late, which made that 12:05 and 12:06 really stand out to me. Again, that's just my brain doing weird things. So I apologize about that. I will make some edits to the Nightbot the next time. I do apologize. It's a learning curve. So I understand wanting to type in all caps, but thank you for being kind and letting me know that happened. And sorry about Nightbot. I guess that Nightbot needs some extra sleep, huh? That was such a dad joke. So cringe at that as well. Now I have all these other tabs open because I was reading from that and I lost my little thingamabob. So give me 1 second to get, wrong thing. This is so fun that I lost this. I feel like I'm on an adventure. Nope. Okay, here we go. Okay. So, that's what I see, and then you can see this, on the table in the background. I thought it's really weird. They seem to be, like, gluing all of these things to, I think, what is a laptop or something, and the freaking cat-looking thing again, I'm like, "What is with the cats?" Then we also have squirrel on here again, stop hurt, late does not equal fate, does not equal fable, food, squirrel was obviously hungry. A person holding a battery. I love that little smiley face. And then too fake is what squirrel is seeing on here. And again, you can see all these devices on here. This seems to be the bottom of a charger. So on the one I see here, where I saw AES was right here. I also see, I see a few different things. So I see to take, stay still, or STFU, AES, jobs or evil, or jobs are evil, which is interesting. Ever, AF, AM1, or I think that could also mean amon. And amon appears to be a very rare variant or derivative linked to the Hebrew name Amnon, which derives from the root amon, signifying faithfulness, nurture, and trustworthiness. And there are a lot of related names and name variants, but that's something I pulled from AI and Namepedia as well. So this is saying stop to hurt, and then am1. So stop hurt am1 or stop hurt amon is what I'm assuming that that's some sort of phrase. I think I already went over evil as well. And then to take, and then down here where squirrel had a person, I was seeing each and a bunch of other things, but I didn't want to make any assumptions. Like, I don't know if this is TRAN. Interesting. And then sorry, things like that. I saw the percent symbol. There are a lot of arrows. And again, what looks like the barrel of a sniper. Day circled. And then I also saw late does not equal fate, does not equal fable, which is interesting when you're talking about if you're late. And then fate does not equal a fairy tale or like some sort of story. And then I'm like struggling with my Zoom today, per usual, but it's like really weird. Whoop. All right. So then Bree reviewed and she said late does not equal fate. Fate does not equal fable. She said it much more beautifully than I did, I will say. Tree has a theory on here as well. I don't know, but the fact that he glued a battery on a piece of cardboard and then you've got something that looks like copper, there's definitely conductive copper paint material that's used for circuit boards and stuff like that. And the fact that he did this to mimic writing right in the middle of a Tesla book tells me he was obsessed with Tesla and Tesla was about copper. This was an attempt, or she believes this was an attempt at a DIY Tesla shield meant to interact with invisible force. He believes he was controlling his life, is what she thinks. So we all had opinions about these. She also saw the stop hurt anyone, stay still, and STFU, and to take on her view. Marsh, what are you? I can't read minds. I don't know. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I was like, oh no, I'm bad at this game. I'm real bad at this game. You're probably laughing at me. Sorry. So this is what she's talking about in regards to the copper and Tesla that I just read. So that makes sense. And thank you, Marsh, for drawing the arrow, because I suck at doing that. And then over here, Squirrel says, shit damn. Sorry if you have kids in the room. But I like how that's like the one thing that you wrote on this one, and then the time minus test, and then EXE, so execution, or some type of math problem. And then this one is me, and I saw a bunch of different things in here. I saw a lot of Greek symbols, be at bright, be rate, lock up out, and then SSS, which again seems to be coral, room, and improve mentoral, which is another electrical term. Left cold. What does that mean? You're leaving something cold. I mean, these are not really things that make sense with someone sporadically drawing something, in my opinion. I think it's possible, but I think that these things would not seem to be as intentional looking through them as well. And then thank you for blurring out, because this is a family-friendly show, the curse word that I saw right here. And then I saw damn down, got up, drop it ED. So something that stood out to me on this one is drop it ED. ED is education, or EDU. It's what a lot of people call universities and everything. And then you kind of see 4 up, and I saw an aerial of the courtyard here, and EV, which generally means electric, EV, or 4 up. There's a lot of things that seem to be about electrics here. Rest, dots, time minus test, warn time, 2 ER, warmer creep, and then it looks like something's opening right there. And then Bree reviewed this one, and she saw the omega symbol equals ohms in electrical terminology. So I'm not going to try to pretend to be an expert on that, but I do know that that is an electrical term. And then we all kind of saw this weird thing, but she noted computer file name for time minus test exe. So that's apparently a computer file name. So I hope that somebody's looking into that on these people's computers. Rest is in here. From the aerial view, We have a few of these that I feel like are too much of a coincidence when we're looking at the buildings around and the viewpoint and vantage point of where someone's at versus where someone was sitting as well. And I do have those, I think, at the bottom. So then what is Ohm's law? So Ohm's law is the amount of current that is proportional to the voltage applied to the circuit and inversely proportional to the resistance of the circuit. I'm not going to pretend to know how to break that down. I feel like we should watch a video on that if we need that broken down, because I am definitely not an electrician. I don't even know sometimes what light switches to be flipping on and off in my house. And if my husband's listening to this, he's probably laughing thinking about that, because I'm always turning on and off. We have like some light switch panels that have like 6 freaking switches on it. I'm like, how am I supposed to know which one's which? I don't know. I just click them all the time. And we've lived here for like quite some time. So it's a little bit weird. I still don't know that. Squirrel on this one was seeing misery. And this is a beautiful piece of art where, again, look at those nails. Lord, somebody's in pain. That's all I'm going to say. I used to be a nail biter. So I know. Flipping awesome. Are you pointing to something? No. Okay. And then over here, I saw math plus rock or knock. I like rocks, so the word rock definitely stood out to me. I also saw misery. And with these circles, I felt like those seemed to represent people to me when I was looking at an aerial view and what we have reported to us, or what's reported to us about the timeline of September 10th. And then sense is in there as well. All right. And then I'm on the bottom row up here. And then moving on. So squirrel on this one saw stop looking for others. The microboard was here in the background. Saw a satellite, and I like how they outlined theirs. Bug, lots of bugs. I don't know if you underscored that because I like bugs, but thank you. I am not a gamer, but Squirrel did mention the hell divers. You can tell I'm not a gamer, too. And it looked like this little thing, apparently, that's in that game. I say little thing because it's on a little drawing on the interweb that I looked at. I'm not calling it a little thing. It looks huge if this is a mountain. But it's definitely not like a cute little thing. Somebody needs to squash that bug thing right now. A cactus is what Squirrel saw. And ATT the tude, so attitude, which you heard Turkey Tom kind of say as well. And I think he saw some of the same things in here. But some of the people that reviewed these did not watch that video. And then Synwave and the Tesla orb over there. And then I see lose it, but this is the Tesla orb being talked about. And then upright, down, the viral Helldivers 2 Eagle 500 B word meme found on the casing that is reported on the court filing. Oh yeah, you are correct about the arrows. So that is a little bit weird if that scenario is also completely in here, which we'll have to go back and look at, I guess. Okay, and then this one's mine. So I saw a few things. When I was visualizing this, I felt like this looked like an aerial view again, like stop looking for others, the exit point on the roof. This looks to be the corner where you would have the view of the courtyard at UVU. And then the stair entrance getting up on that roof, like going up and then going back and up is what I was seeing. More than shut is what I saw looking here, and like a weird electrical black hole looking thing. And this is what Squirrel saw was a satellite. Again, we got those nails. Pray for this person. The terrain, which I found to be kind of weird. So terrain and then a down up arrow. That's weird. I don't know. Bugging, terrible. And I know that someone else reported terrible lists as well. So that's also an interesting take on that. And then to me, Turner's up. So over here in my visual, and I'll pull up the map again with some of these and zoom in and go back and forth to talk about it. Because the next one actually has the maps pulled up. Don't feel bad. Even electricians don't understand electricity. Sure, they get it from point A to point B, but its existence is a mystery. Thank you, Basic Niche. Electrics are confusing. I'm glad it works because I don't like the dark, but I mean, that's a lot of stuff to learn. And it's kind of magical that it works to me. And then I also saw the sin wave, lost it or lose it. And then attitude. So the acronym ATT can stand for a lot of things. And I'm just looking up a lot of military acronyms and different things throughout this process. One of the ones that stood out to me was the authorization to test and advanced transport technology. We also have AT&T, which is that telecommunications company. But I thought the ATT, the tude, I'm like, are you authorizing to test something? Your attitude? I don't know. Again, family-friendly show, so I'm not going to read this, but this is what Squirrel saw in here. So I love that for us. And then, oh wait, that's me again. And then he underlined federated and federate as well. I like how you marked it out in pink. And then we have those real nice bitten nails. Poor person with those. Somebody's in pain. Somebody's suffering out there. All right. Something that also stood out to me when I was reviewing the same one is going to be brackish. When I looked into brackish water and a bunch of different things, brackish water can be used to help conductivity. And I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing words. I don't say these words out loud a lot. So, I mean, I'm not sorry, but I'm sorry if it's annoying, I guess. If that's what you get annoyed about, though, I'm happy that that is all you get annoyed about. Feel relate is what I saw over on the right. Fortetter, arted. I don't know. I was like coming up with all of the different things I thought this could mean. It looks like gibberish to me now. Federated. I also saw here CIA or Chow, kind of looking over here. And this is where they said those Zener cards. I see looking at this full or bull and then shot. So I don't see the other S word for poop like somebody over here does. I see full shot or bull shot. And just personally. And then over here we have Squirrel again seeing CISMs, which I have a thing over on the right for. And then an antenna again. All about those antennas. MedSick. Those nails. Oh, Lord. That's even like a worse angle. That is so bad. That is so bad. That poor person. And then shortened story time, which I feel to be really interesting as well, because I feel like the story did change a few times as well. And then moving on. So this one's mine. I did mine in hot pink. I don't even like wear pink very much, but I'm wearing pink today. I'm loving pink. So it's just what I am doing. I love the thoughts you guys have, and I would love to, if you would like to join the Discord, you can totally do that, and we can discuss these more in depth this week as well. And I'm going to have to make some adjustments to the bot, so please don't hate me. I promise we will work on that. I love how you painted the fingernail pink. Thank you for that. And then in here, I'm seeing shortened story 2 times. So do you shorten the story twice? I also want to note when I saw muss and musser right here. So M-U-S-R. That it can mean rubbish in English and also refers to various marine animals like porpoises in Turkish. I also want to note we have somebody that keeps referring to or using axolotls everywhere. That's also kind of a weird marine animal type thing. And then I'm pretty sure we have a profile picture that's an otter right now or something, or a seal. It's a little bit weird. And then sick in military often stands, and this is a definition I pulled, so don't hold me to it. But SIC stands for Signals Intelligence Collection, which involves gathering and analyzing electronic signals for intelligence purposes, crucial for national security operations. It primarily is utilized in the intelligence and military context and is related to SINGIT, so signals intelligence, and electronic intelligence. I don't know if you say ELINT or ELINT. I don't know. So I'm not going to pretend like I know. And then up here looking at CISMs and drop, I wanted to note that CISM is another acronym I found. Yes, the thumbs biting does tell me anxiousness as well. That it can stand for Certified Information Security Manager. So it's a little bit interesting with somebody that's affirming your ability to assess risk, implementing effective governance, and proactively responding to incidents with a highlight of emerging technologies and such as AI and blockchain. And it guarantees a skill set meets the evolving security threats and industry requirements by addressing top of the mind concerns like data breaches and ransomware attacks. Crucial for IT professionals, this certification ensures that you are staying ahead of the pace of change. So it's a little bit interesting in this retrospect to me as I reviewed it, and I see CISMs right here. And I wasn't the only one that saw CISMs. That doesn't mean that that's what that means, but it's a little weird as well. So then over here we have Bree, and she was seeing USMC for U.S. Marine Services or Marine Corps, I believe. And then or CISMs, she saw drop. And then do all of these small circles represent people planted in the audience who are involved? And she was wondering if this is a bush. I did really like this theory when we were talking about it. And then Med6 COO and shortened story 2 time. A lot of us saw that as well in here. And then you can see in the background, I mean, it's chaos, but it's like also organized chaos. For somebody that's supposedly filthy, like they're sorting all of these marker pen vape remote type things. I don't even know what type of remote this is to. But I was just glad to not see urine in one of these jugs. I'm going to be honest. As well, because if he's locking himself in a room and that's what's being reported and everything, that's a little bit weird. So, all right. Trying to make sure I'm zooming in and out on the right ones, because I don't see the ones that we had with the side by side as well. So I am going to play 2 quick videos that are shorts on TikTok and X to show about this a little bit more. And I'm glad everyone knows what an axolotl is now. I actually saw a dead one at the store this week. That was interesting. I took a picture of it because I was surprised that it was dead. I don't know. I just wasn't expecting that. So we're going to look at some ones that have volume up and down in certain things. And I wanted to play this video to show this. This is from Matt Wallace 888. And it says Charlie Kirk did 133 campus events. This is the only one where the speaker malfunctioned, and it played this right before and played this noise. It happened seconds before his final breath. Let me make sure that, and please let me know if it works.
Is that good? You want me to just continue? All right. All right, great. All right. A few weeks ago, there was a transgender mass shooter. And ever since then... Is that good? You want me to just continue? All right. All right, great. All right. A few weeks ago, there was a transgender mass shooter.
Okay, so that is that one, so you can hear the noise. And then we also have another one here. make sure. I never use this, so I really don't know.
Is that good? You want me to just continue? All right, great. All right. A few weeks ago, there was a transgender mass shooter. And ever since then, about 3 weeks later, the Trump DOJ said that we should start talking about revoking gun rights for transgender Americans. Now, I think you're in support of this decision. Yes, is that fair to say? All right, great. So do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years?
Too many.
Okay. I just want to point out the lot of empirical evidence there. It's 5. Okay. Now 5 is a lot, right? I'm gonna give you some credit. Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Okay, so that was something I wanted to show, and then I'm going to pull up one other thing before I go back to the rest of these few drawings that we reviewed. No. Okay. So, as I was reviewing these, I wanted to note that also on we have this incident with Accurate Energetic Systems, the explosion that happened on October 10th, 2025. So exactly 1 month after September 10th, 2025, where we lost Charlie Kirk. And the investigation was opened on the 27th of October. So they came out with their final report, and I have that pulled up with some highlights that I'm going to talk about today. And this is from the actual csb.gov website as well. So you can pull this up at your own discretion if you'd like to. But I know some people like summaries and don't like to nerd out like that. And that's okay. You know, that doesn't have to be for everybody. All right. So I have it highlighted. All right. So this report came out, and there's quite a few things I wanted to talk about with it. I don't like how this looks. Okay, why is it so... Ew. Okay, we're going with this one. This is what we're going with. So sorry about that. Thank you guys for coming if you're here as well. I like the detective squirrel too. It's one of my favorites. I am going to have to adjust the bot, so I'm apologizing for the bot in advance. Yeah, don't use cuss words, because I think that was an automatic thing and I didn't think about that. So then this is the report that came out in March of 2026. So pretty recent. I had highlighted some things and wanted to show some pictures of before and after. So this left one right here is showing the incident, the building where the incident happened before. And then over here is showing after. So it goes from this to this. Now, the things that really stood out to me is the part of the drawing where I feel like I'm seeing AES, which could be me just seeing things because I know too much about this and I've heard about this. But I also wanted to say that some of this is just weird. I mean, the blast is heard more than 20 miles away, felt more than 20 miles away. And we have roughly 1,000 pounds of unexploded energetic material that's been launched from the building that were recovered on site. They had 140 employees at the time, and this is a pre-incident photo of the building where it took place. The high explosives in this incident were secondary explosives. So that means that they were designed to require the use of a primary explosive to initiate it as an explosion or an explosive reaction. So the secondary explosives, however, may still be ignited by other sources of energy such as heat, friction, or impact, which sounds interesting when you look at the theories that happened on September 10th, not just in the review of October 10th. I do agree that we deserve better cuss words. There are a lot better words we can use, honestly. But if you want to use them, you know, you can do that. I mean, just the bot doesn't like it, I guess. So I'm so sorry. The raw material and origin and debris is talking about how 602 has new and I can't say this word right now. I know I can't say it, so I'm not going to. but unmilitary explosive materials, no longer military explosive materials. I can't say dematerialized. I think I kind of did, but I just had a brain fart. Explosive materials are reclaimed or repurposed military grade explosives intended for industrial use. And then I also highlighted a few other things here. So AES operators are reported to the CSB that they reported it, the people that worked here, that they regularly observed debris, including clothing, bottle caps, and metal screws and nuts, plants, insects, tar, and rocks, in the dematerialized material processed in building 602. That's a lot of military material. I'm like, who wrote that? Who wrote that? Use a different word. Or I should just learn how to read. And then under the CAS boosters, I found this to be super interesting as well. So I highlighted the things I thought I needed to touch base on. If you want to listen to this. At the time of the incident, AES was manufacturing CAS boosters, which are solidified explosives housed in cardboard or plastic tubes. The main charge makes up the majority of the volume of the explosives in the booster and is designed to detonate following an explosive shock from an initiator, such as a blasting cap or detonating cord. So, as part of the production process, AES also placed a solid PETN core or PETN core composed of what AES termed a top hat and through-hole pellet into the cast booster assembly to ensure that the main charge detonated as intended, which I found to be super interesting as well. So it has a picture of this on here. And it shows the pellet hole and everything else. And I just found it to be interesting that these types of things cause it. I also like the color of that. I don't know why. I do. And then it also says some explosive materials are considered shock sensitive, meaning they can be initiated by an external shock. And a shock can be generated from several mechanisms, including physical impact, a hydraulic shock, or pressure shock wave, which is really interesting when you're reviewing what happens to Charlie Kirk. The shock sensitivity of some explosives can result in a sympathetic detonation, which are follow-on detonations induced by the explosive effects of initiating explosion. So the other thing, and I have this pulled up on another article, but when assessing explosives for the potential to ignite or explode, materials are subjected to the tests to determine their sensitivity to various forms of initiation energy or the energy required to start the deflagration or detonation of an explosive material. And the thing I wanted to note is this initiation energy is also most often applied via impact or collision between surfaces, which could happen if you are tased, hit with air, all of those things. Friction or movement between surfaces, so pushing someone to the ground, in my opinion, or hitting somebody with something. An electrostatic discharge or heat. So, I think there's only like 2 more things, and then I'll go on the ESD thing in a second. Building 602 was not equipped with a sprinkler or deluge fire protection system. In August of 2016, so almost 10 years before, AES received approval from the Tennessee State Fire Marshal to use an early detection system as an alternative to fire protection system in Building 602 as well. I'm laughing because I just got a picture of my family watching the show on my phone, and I wasn't expecting that. So hi, if you're seeing me on the TV right now. And then I also wanted to note that this happened really early in the morning. So the first explosion, so there were multiple explosions that I was seeing based on this report. And I feel like it didn't really talk about that in the news reporting, which I found to be weird. That at 7:47, the first explosion occurred in Building 602 based on the debris field and the blast indications that this first explosion likely occurred on the ground floor. The pressure wave from the initial detonation likely caused other explosives in the building to sympathetically detonate, and in total, approximately 23,000 pounds of explosive material detonated, deflagrated, or burned. That's insane. That is literally insane. I will go look through that dirt with you, Allison. I love looking through dirt and stuff. So, yeah, I know. It's just crazy. I feel like we need to go take some samples. I want to know more. Like, this is the report. We don't know what's in the dirt. We don't know all of the things. Were all of the items and things that you found in the soil from there or reported to be from there, what they were building? All 16 people inside the building were fatally injured. One maintenance employee who was located inside a vehicle nearby 602 at the time of the incident was seriously injured. That would be terrifying. If anybody knows that person, I would like to talk to you if you were in that vehicle at the time of the incident. And I also wanted to know that there were some other people that, if you are one of those people, I would love to speak to you about this, working in or around the buildings that had injuries as well. Here's an aerial view of the kettles that exploded. Another post-incident view of that building. That's so sad. Another aerial view. Here's building 602, 1,000 feet, 2,000 feet, 3,000 feet. And you can see the radius of the things that were affected. The debris from the event was propelled by over 700 feet from that building, 602. That's insane. So it almost flew all the way out here. And then the explosive debris was found scattered throughout the wooded area surrounding the building, and the incident destroyed vehicles located in the parking lot, approximately 250 feet from the building. I feel like the insurance adjusters did not know how to handle this situation. I just think that I don't know how that would happen. And it's really weird that someone's saying this. So I also think it's really weird that it was reported that every single person passed away. That is not what this report is saying. It's saying seriously injured for people. And it says a certain number of people passed. I feel like the news kept reporting that every single person except one that did work a few months before, that then was unalived in a very serious, terrifying way, was the only survivor. So it gets more weird, though, because... All right, so people were reportedly feeling the blast 20 miles from the facility. That's terrifying. This is what I was talking about with the insurance adjusters. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Shouldn't have bought a Dodge. Shouldn't have bought a Dodge. I'm joking. I love these trees too because they're so tall and beautiful, but it's sad to look at this. My favorite tree is a mature birch tree. I know most people don't care about trees, but anyways, it also says in here, in the hour before the incident, several AES employees either had been near, performed activities in, or were planning to visit building 602. So was that an everyday thing? That's the question I have here. And then the other thing is, five third shift operators left building 602 between 10 and 45 minutes between the incident. So less than an hour, just under an hour before this incident, and even 10 minutes before, you have 5 people leaving that building that survived. And as the public, we were all told everybody passed away. So that's a little bit weird. And then also, it's saying a lot of other people. A lab technician left the building after collecting production samples and performing water testing. So that's up to 6. Then we have one more. A maintenance employee was returning a company vehicle to building 602. And one manager was heading towards building 602 before the incident. So you have 8 people right there that seem to be alive that we have not heard from the public. And I would like to know their firsthand reporting other than just the bugs and these explosives. Like, I'm sorry, there's bugs in our food. I don't want to know if there's a cricket in the explosive. I want to know more about how it works and why this is so kind of vague. Is this the only report they're going to put out? Because if it is, this is not good enough for me. It's just an update, so I'm hoping that this is not the whole thing. But if it is, that got some explaining to do. And then I was going to go back to... All right. So when I was speaking earlier about the electrostatic discharge and ESD to heat, something I wanted to know, and I'm going to pull it up real quick, is... right here. So when speaking about an ESD, I looked at a couple things, and this is from the ESDA.org. Greek scientist Thales of Miletus, again, I can't read very well out loud, so don't judge me on that, mentioned the earliest report of electricity. He found that after amber was rubbed, dust and leaves were attracted to it, and the word triboelectrical, covered later, comes from the Greek words tribo, meaning to rub, electros, meaning amber, and fossilized resin. That's fossilized resin from prehistoric trees. Trees are cool. When flowing electricity properties were discovered in the 1700s, static electricity became the term for the old form of electricity, which distinguished it from the new forms of electricity, which is really interesting to hear all of this about the ionization, the techniques. So it is a electricity term. And then going to the Wikipedia about this and looking at those drawings, you see a lot of the same terms that were in there, which does seem to show some type of obsession with electrics, somebody going through some type of electrical training, which somebody that lived in that house did. I mean, lightning, thunder. The ESD is a sudden and momentary flow of electric current between two differently charged objects when brought close together or when the dielectric between them breaks up, often creating a visible spark associated with the static electricity between the objects. So it can also be may not be seen nor heard, yet is large enough to cause damage to sensitive electronic device, which I thought to be really weird. And then there was also something in here that I thought was really interesting. Okay. ESD can cause harmful effects of importance in industry, including explosions in gas, fuel vapor, and coal dust, as well as failure of solid-state electronics components such as integrated circuits. They can suffer permanent damage when subjected to high voltages, and electronics manufacturers therefore establish electrostatic protective areas free of static, using measures to prevent charging, such as avoiding highly charging materials and materials to remove static, such as ground human workers providing anti-static devices and controlling humidity. I also wanted to note there was something in here about a loud lightning struck. Okay. Yeah. So electric sparks require field strength and above approximately 4 million VM in air, as notably occurs in lightning strikes. Similar forms of electric discharge include corona discharge from sharp electrodes, brush discharge, and blunt electrodes, etc. We see this flux term in the drawings. We see a lot of those circles too. And I just think that it's really interesting looking at the drawing again, which seems to have a lot of these things in it. And it doesn't really make sense to me unless you knew about these things or were obsessed with it. And then to see it match up with a map of something that's already a suspicious event makes me think that whoever planted these or drew them knew what was going on. I'm also dead that there's a cat, because there's always cats with that weird katana, the sword and gaming name he uses. I don't know. It baffles me. There's always a cat. Always one. Always one. Or the profiles that follow me with cats on it. I'm like, okay, I see you. I saw you to begin with, but thank you for hanging out, you know? Okay. So, all right. So then going back to all of this. Okay. I have a lot going on here. But, sorry, I was checking the time. This is one of the pictures that's also supposedly outside of the apartment that's reported and taken by this person sent into Turkey Tom. And then we reviewed this in depth. Obviously, this is a Magic the Gathering tournament. You see a lot of Magic cards and card boxes on here. Lizard, question mark. We don't know if there's a lizard in there or not, but it looks like there may have been at one point. I don't know. A rock tumbler, weights, a stepper motor, a tech deck that you ride with a with your fingers. I remember those as a kid. A 3, I don't know why the 3's there, but I like it, I guess. Oh, 1, 2, 3. I'm silly. It was about this antenna breadboard that was explained a little bit earlier that shows also a flux or fluxolotl soldering iron that Squirrel put earlier. And also pulling this part out of the Turkey Tom video, the water, and this was explained by this person that he witnessed the water being clear one day. And at some point, I think the wires got plugged into an outlet because the water turned brown and the aluminum foil was pretty burnt. So that's somebody that seems to be experimenting with electrics and electrical devices. Tubing, we were a little bit perplexed what this was for. This is a meme, apparently. And these are some sick glasses that I would not wear. A hot shooty over there for hot glue. And then 1, 2, 3. I forget what we were saying here, but there's also a disassembled laptop up in here. So we have, yes, the battery. Oh, battery. There's 3 batteries. I was way overthinking that per usual, but there's 3 batteries up in there. And this little guy circled as well. I don't know why. I think it's because it's the soldering thing out here. Yeah. Oh, we're getting a copy and paste in here. No, we're not. But this is more of those antenna and breadboards as well. Marsh pulled a lot of these in, so I'm always grateful for those. This table to me looks like an organized mess, so I don't think it's like super chaos, but I mean, it looks like a young person's table. So I do think it's a little bit weird, but I mean, no comment further on that. But this is reported to be a table that was used for gaming in Tyler Robinson's and Lance Twiggs' apartment. Again, reported. We don't know for sure. He's a messy son of a shooty. I like that. I don't think I can say that word on here. So the other thing that I'm going to mention is I have these side-by-side aerial views of what I was talking about in those drawings and what I was seeing looking at it that made me think that there might be a little bit more to this. Oh, okay. So 1042, we see calm the Jesus thing or calm the Jesus sting is what I'm seeing in the drawing. I wanted to report, this is from a news article of an aerial view of this, and I've been working on having a side-by-side visual to post with each drawing and all of this interactively so that you can turn it off and adjust the, I don't know what you call this, see-throughness? That's not even a word. Opacity, I think, is the word I'm looking for here. But what I did is I went through and marked the dots based on where these circles were. So you're seeing here, dead drop in the drawing, a stop sign. You're seeing over here where those stairs are at, I showed earlier, this up, down, up arrow thing, where you also see that in the Helldiver. This looks like the set of stairs to get up there again in the access roof point. So like you go up the first stairs, then you go up again, you access the roof. And it's just really weird that the circles seemed to line up throughout the board. So what I did in this one is I put squares around the things that I thought were interesting. So here we have an electrical resistor that I'm pointing out here. Resistance. And then, oh my gosh, is there another arrow? Oh yeah, it's up there too. Maybe. I don't know what we were thinking there. And then another axolotl. So I did see one of these dead this week. And yes, you all thought those things burp, but it was me. And then you see the stop, draw, think, and king type drawing we have here. Stop, draw, thinking, and reasons, 21, heart, keep clear. I don't know. It's just literal STFU or stop. Drop dead. So associate och thrower STFU. I don't know what that means, but I don't think I really want to know what it means. But again, on the opacity here with the circles lining up, they pretty much line up with where the stairs are at, where we're reportedly seeing these people exit and join the building, and then where they're at from an aerial view, looking at a 20,000 foot view of this. I have this a few times. I love how we still have add arrows in here. And then it says bad word director noise, and then it looks like the switchback stairs again. So there's that bad word that you can't say in the bot. I also agree a lot of this is a psyop. Transparency is the word I was looking for. Thank you. I don't know why I thought it was opaque. I don't even know what I was thinking. And then here it is again without sorry, I got distracted for 1 second. And again. Okay. Oops, I'm just now seeing this. 1 second. Okay. There we go. So, and then seeing these again, here it is playing without, and here's the aerial view from the news as well. And then here it is again with nothing written on it, and the circles kind of how they align. It's a little bit weird that I even think some of the lines line up in a weird, messed up way. It's like where you see the people entering and exiting, and then you see the time, you see all of these really bizarre things. I mean, this literally to me looks like an axolotl when it's turned upside down. So it's just a little bit weird. And if they were in the apartment hours before and they got a warrant and someone else put these there, whoever did that should have to answer for it. And be held accountable, because that's not cool if somebody did that. So this is what Bree saw. So she saw stop, draw, thinking. Reasons 21, keep clear. Another bad word, director. Thrower. And then she also highlighted the 1042 stop Jesus sting or stop Jesus thing, which I find to be really weird with the gaming groups that he's in, and also some of the things that we saw said about people that he was a big fan of. So, all right. This on here is feedback. So I'm going to read it out loud. Bear with me, because again, reading is not my strong suit. But I have a scribbled notebook drawing someone made. I can make out 5 circles or objects amongst the noisy drawing. I overlaid the drawing over a satellite map image, and the 5 objects seem to closely line up with 5 key locations at a college campus. What are the odds of this random occurrence of centroid alignment within 25 feet? You can tell somebody that knows what they're talking about knew what they were doing. So, yes, and then this one says alignment within 100 feet. So we're going to talk about the differences here. It did all the math. I'm not going to try to map it out up here. But the odds for it being within 25 feet are 1 in 2.7 trillion. And this is assuming the random placement, independent scribbles, non-overlapping targets, and no post hoc searching or allowed rotations, translations violating these increases the effective probability. Then when you change it to within 100 feet, it's still about 1 in 2.1 million. So the odds of these lining up with the aerial view of what's going on are between, if we're looking at 25 and 100 feet, between 1 in 2.7 trillion and 1 in 2.1 million out of the odds. I don't really think that's a coincidence. If it is, we should all go buy a lottery ticket together and give it to me. I'm joking. And then I also wanted to note, this is what I was trying to map out, and I believe this is actually from Twitter, and I don't think I tagged who it is, so I am so sorry, because I think I copied the image. I am pretty sure this is from Marsh. Can you look it up? But it's Mama. Oh, I follow her and I don't know the name, but I want to make sure I'm properly shouting that out. So thank you. It's something Mama. Mama Bear. So again, here are the dots circled. This is where the weapon allegedly is. This is where the person's crossing the road. The stairs are back here that you have to go up to get to the roof point. This is where Charlie's at. It's just a lot going on that I feel like is too much of a coincidence. As well. So I also wanted to note that I did put this on today for the first time, Rumble and Kick. If you would like to watch on there, I know people had said that. So if you would like to, you can. If it's not working well, oops, we'll do better next time. I tried. Again, I just put the dots over the area. And I just think it's really weird. I mean, you see STFU idiots, live in, lucky verse, which is interesting talking about Charlie. Volume up, pro ST. Is it pro saint, pro sound technician? A lot of things going on. They had an extra person helping. So it's just a little bit weird. And then this one really got me, and I'll pull it up, but this is shit go oops, family show. Crap, go to the store. And then this one really got me. The small box, go to listen to act. And it's like above, up. It's just a lot. This is apparently America. Did not get an A in art, I'm telling you. If we did, we all need to go talk to that art teacher. This again says the S word idiot. You are love. You or lay. Weird. It's weirding me out. And then I will have to report on this later because I don't see it. So I'm sorry. I will because it's relevant to something I was thinking. So then over here, I have the layout again over on the dots. And until I showed something like this, I think that my friend that I was showing this to thought I was insane, which I get because it does sound insane. But then I know the drop point. And when you look at where the drop point is, I mean, it could be flipped either way. So like over here, we see drop dead, but then you could also flip it the... Yes. Yes, what? I don't know, but yes. Yes. Yes, yes, in. Yes, insane. You have really good handwriting, Marsh. So I was like, what? I mean, it is literally insane because you could flip this almost both ways in the dots line up. But yes. Yeah. And this is just a few variations of the drawing showing the dots that are on there, and the drawing unedited as well, or the work of art, as you may call it. I have it on here again, just showing another variation. So we have keep clear, drop dead, literal STFU, or F director. We have the switchback stairs or the down, up for hell driver. To me, this looks like the walkway to gain roof access. This looks like a robot or a person. And to me, it says learn to, or is this learn to sniper rifle, or is it a sword or something, or cross? And then a robot and a Quidditch thing. I don't know, but that's what I'm seeing. This one got me. Calm the F. Stop Jesus thing or stop Jesus ting. That's what I'm seeing. Thrower, STFU, and some of these are repeated. So again, we have the axolotl with a red nose or reindeer nose as well. This one, I don't even know how you would have this on there, but it's weird. Lucky verse is on here again, and I feel like it has to be biblical, in my opinion, because the way that it has it written on there. We see volume up. So when we're talking about those videos of the volume being weird and pro, and then we see crap go to store, it just doesn't make sense to me at all. So I'm going to pull up that quick video real quick one more time to go over that sound with the volume up, because that's what it seems like is happening when I'm reviewing that.
A few weeks ago, there was a transgender mass shooter. And ever since then, about 3 weeks later, the Trump DOJ said that we should start talking about revoking gun rights for transgender Americans. Now, I think you're in support of this decision. Yes? All right, great. So, do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years?
Too many.
Okay. Five. Okay, now 5 is a lot, right? I'm going to give you some credit. Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Okay, so again, when you hear what sounds to be volume up, I think that's really suspicious from my own personal opinion. And I am trying to pull up one more thing that it just spoke about because I realized I closed that tab earlier. Unless Marsh, you find it before me, but I was trying to pull up the footage of the grocery store. So 1 second, bear with me. I am going to pull up the Turkey Tom video real quick because I'm going to pull this up, play a few more seconds of that, and take a quick bathroom break. So, just so you know what I'm doing, that is what I'm doing if you care to know all of the deets.
He's doing something here. Among the incoherent scribbles, there's hot glue and electrical wiring and batteries, which leads me to suspect he actually believed he was putting something together. And maybe some of these scribbles are, at least in his delusional mind, blueprints or rough sketches. At least some of his drawings had symbols that resembled electrical circuit diagrams, some even written on books about electrical stuff like impedance phenomena, while others had mathematical symbols as if he was writing down equations. Although, of course, none of it actually makes any sense to me or probably you. I will say some of this stuff legitimately gets pretty scary. To think that this guy melted his own brain to the point where he was drawing this is horrifying. Besides the consistent appearance of circuit diagram-like straight lines leading to symbols and drawings and references to spirals and spiraling, there is one image in particular that really got my attention. On what looks to be 2 pieces of cardboard, Lance wrote, "Hormonal flux dash is way fluctuative," followed by definitely orchid denialism. If you don't know, orchid is actually the medical term for balls. So with the context here being him mentioning hormones and of course identifying as trans in the few months prior to Tyler's attack, orchid denialism could be a reference to him outright not acknowledging or recognizing his balls. I can't make any other conclusion besides that one, but as I said earlier, all of the images will be available for you to peruse. And although a lot of it is just random babble, I am hoping that by someone else other than I taking a look at this, there can be some information extracted from these images. The anonymous peer continues. These scribbles look bad, but it's even worse when you saw his face when he was doodling it, combined with the giggling and how vigorously he would scribble. It was very scary. And the way...
Okay, so sorry about that. I chugged a bunch of drinks and had to go to the bathroom. So thank you for bearing with me. I also should have 100% had a warning if anyone was watching with their children and didn't want their kids to hear about any of that. So I apologize if that made anyone uncomfortable. I did not burp in the bathroom. But yeah, hit that like button. I see I was here for burp round 2. Okay, so I'm going to open up cuz in the drawing I just showed, it shows crap go to store. And I wanted to know this from the Dairy Queen area, which Ryan Matta reported on. I'm not sharing my screen. That's fun. And it's small. Okay. So that Ryan Matta reported on, and it talks about from another person.
What if I told you that I was about to blow this Tyler Robinson investigation wide open, because we now have CCTV footage of Tyler Robinson at a different location than the university 20 minutes after the shooting. This is the first time you guys have ever heard this story, and it's all thanks to From Convict to Conservative. This man only has 536 followers. So we're going to leave his link down below, and we're going to want to make sure we get this. We're going to get him over to 5,000 to 10,000 with this video, because it's probably going to be the most viral video of this entire Tyler Robinson investigation. It's going to blow the FBI's narrative out of the water. Ready for this? Let's go. Okay, we got a lot to unpack in this video, and I just wanted you guys to stick with me. But it all started by Laissez-Faire Lounge. She goes by Pia. She sends me a DM, and she says, hey, Ryan, I got this guy that has footage of Tyler Robinson. They were trying to get through to the Candace Tip hotline, but they can't get through. So he wants to share it with you. And he just got footage of Tyler Robinson 20 minutes after the shooting on camera. So I started working with my man, Convict to Conservative, and he started breaking this down for me. So the video you're looking at right here is at 12:44. Okay, that's 20 minutes after the shooting. You're going to be able to see Tyler's car in this parking lot. But how do we know that that's Tyler's car? Because the FBI showed up to her work right after the shooting, I guess, or right after they heard it was Tyler. The FBI found that Tyler's Robinson's cell phone pinged at this location. So the FBI said, hey, we want to know, do you guys got any CCTV footage of Tyler in this parking lot, or his vehicle in this parking lot, or did he come into this business? Let's see your TV cams. It was right around this time. So she pulls up the security cams, and she goes, yeah. And she asked the FBI, do you guys want me to do anything with this? They're like, nope, that's all we needed. We got copies of it, thanks. And the FBI leaves, which is bizarre, and it makes you think that this wasn't staged. And I'm actually gonna post the conversation that I had with the flyover conservative, or sorry, From Convict to Conservative, down below this video. So it'll be in the comments. It'll be the first comment to follow, and check out that conversation. I screen recorded it when he called me, and we went over all of this. So it's pretty crazy, but I want to unpack this video. So let's get into this footage right here. Okay, so the first video I want to show you guys right here is timestamped at 12:44, right? And we're going to watch back here in the parking lot. We're actually going to see Tyler Robinson's car drive by. It's going to happen at about the 20-second mark, but I just want to kind of skip through here just so it doesn't take so long. This video doesn't take forever. So we're at the 20-minute mark right there, right? And you see this vehicle right here driving through the parking lot, and it stops. It stops right there, and it's going to sit there. Now it's going to sit there for about 2 minutes. And again, this is at 12:44. Okay, so the car is still parked there. We're going to zoom through. You can see people moving right about now. It's going to start to take off any second. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so there his vehicle is starting to take off, and that is at 12:46. So he sat there for about, what is that? It came in at about 20. He sat there for about 2 minutes, give or take, about 1 minute and 55 seconds. Car sits parked right here, okay? Okay, now here's the next video. Customers are coming and going. This video is at 12:47. Now the next thing we're going to watch is we're going to watch the car. It's going to cook right back through here as it drives to the parking lot. And there it goes. Holy shit. Okay. I mean, this is a big gosh damn story, guys. I mean, this is the biggest one to ever break. I mean, this kind of starts to shed so much, throw so.
So I thought that was really interesting because we see in the drawing I just showed, it says shit goes to store, crap goes to store. I didn't mean to say that. I don't like to cuss on air. I may have a bit of a potty mouth, but you know, I don't want to cuss on your TVs if you're on here because I just don't want to do that. And also I have just the under here from the tweet as well. So I wanted to make sure everyone that had done that got credit for some of those things. I know the fact that I was embarrassed that everyone thought that was the axolotl when it was me thinking none of you could hear me burping because of Ben Twiggs. And when I would try to talk before and he was talking, you couldn't hear me. So I was like, oh, they're not going to hear me let out this little burp I've been holding in. And it was definitely suppressed, but I'm still, because it was like right here. If you were not here, Marsh clipped and put a short of it on the channel. If you are sad that you missed it, you don't have to have FOMO, I guess, if you want to see that for some reason. And thank you so much for the kind words I'm seeing in here. Sorry I haven't been paying attention to there because I wanted to get done before Baron starting in about 40 minutes. Yeah, total future memory loss. That was definitely a little burp for me. So I'm not trying to be weird, but I drink a lot of bubbly water. I like San Pellegrino. It's kind of a problem. And yeah, I definitely could have done a lot worse. I kind of belch. So a lot. I don't know. It's not good to hold it in. You might explode like AES. I don't want to do that. My husband doesn't want me to do that. I'm drowning. Like, okay. All right. So I'm going to play this other short little thing of it just to review. And then there are a bunch of things you can see here. I'm actually going to sit here and just repost this right now. If you'd like to see it, you can go look at it right now. But I'm going to play this second one as well. No. Okay. That was awkward. So what you'll see here is this first car is driving away right here as we have these cross-country runners. And it backs up, and then this is allegedly Tyler Robinson's vehicle over here, and it's following it out. I'm also going to be really honest with you. If your dream car is a Challenger, why pick silver? I will never understand that in my life. Pick a better color, bro, of that car. I just feel like it is a disservice to the body style. It's a little bit bizarre. So that was the raw footage based on the better footage before on Ryan Matta's tweet that he posted. I just reposted that on X, the same username. If you would like to see that, I am the same username on everything. If you would like to follow me, don't feel like you have to. Okay. So then, moving back on to the last few things, and then I'm going to wrap it up in the next 10 minutes so that I can, I don't know, take a nap or something, you know? It's a Sunday rainy day going on here. There are some other things that I had in here, and I also wanted to note that the screenshot I kept using, or the screen grab of this map, was from Fox News, and they got it from Google Maps, and then Fox News Digital was listed as the poster of this that I used for the most reference of all of this. And then I also noted in here, I did not come up with these drawings. I am not making an accusation or anything like this. But Anon Bird on Substack, which is Turkey Tom, is the one who's posting these and saying that that's where he got them from, is somebody turning them in that knew Lance. Previously, you can go back, and we're going to talk more about videos in the future. But I did go over Lance's gaming profiles and how it seems to be like there are a lot of cats in everything. He seems to have cats. We have the web phishing thing, cat. username changes that are cats, friends that are all cats, mildly menacing, which is another account that seems to be active in a sub account that he has. And then the one that I think people got confused on before, so I just want to be totally clear because maybe I was not saying it correctly before. Before, I showed a picture of a katana held by Victor Marx. Victor Marx has pictures with katanas. He has interviews with katanas and everything else. Victor Marx has been in the news for a lot of things recently and before, but Lance has a gaming profile, Lancelotl Katana, with a cat, C-A-T, Tana. It's hard for me to say that instead of Tana. And then you can see the name change on here in 2024 and all of the corn going on here. But I did want to mention that there were people confused, and I want to be totally clear and totally direct. I never insinuated or meant to insinuate in any way or meant to mislead people that this picture of Victor Marx was on Lance's Steam profile. That is not what I was saying. What I was saying is it's weird. We have all of these people that seem to be obsessed with katanas. I didn't even know what a freaking katana was. Okay. Like, I guess I'm just not really into weapons or swords. I don't know why I would be. Maybe it's because I'm not like a bro enough kind of gal. I don't know. But I'm not just, whipping around a sword all day. But the reason why we showed it is because he has been pictured and talked about using one before. And I believe when we were seeing all this symbolism of the cats and everything else, that katana was a misspelling on purpose of katana. And I'm saying katana because it's the same thing. But there's a lot of different things that I felt like Lance's profile was saying that maybe caused some of that confusion that I had down here in the notes. Because he was at one point a member or reported to be a member of this Mining for Jesus and a lot of other things and cat symbols that we saw. So I was showing the different symbolism that I saw in his profile, and I'm sorry if that was confusing as well as we went about that. So honestly, I am probably going to save this for another day because I need to go drink another tea. I haven't yapped this much in a minute. And I am going to just show these aerial views from the UVU website based on what we saw today. And the next time I can also have my Canva open and have it up to show each image visualized and unvisualized with the dots, or unvisualized and visualized, with opacity and transparency and not, and playing with it so you can see what I'm talking about with my Google Earth as well. But this is the aerial view from the UVU website. This is where we're reportedly having someone take that shot from here. I also have seen some people report that they think something's going on here. It's a little bit hard for me without better footage to believe that, and I'm not calling it impossible. But yes, we are told here, and then this is where the person exits, which I also think is just bizarre because if there's stairs and stuff right here, I guess I don't know why you wouldn't just like run back here and do it a different way and run off maybe, but I just feel like you're going to like break your legs or something doing it this other way, which is probably why we have the gait pattern suppressed and why it's mentioned in the court documents and why someone is shackled in the courtroom so that no one's suspicious of that. And then there's a lot of different maps where you can see these things or you can map it out yourself. So this one is from CBS and it shows all of the things from where the suspect jumped from the roof and fled over here. We have the camera that's over here. We have that footage from. This is where the person approximately took that shot. And then this is where Charlie was. I also want to mention this thing about the garage is really weird to me with the timing and everything else. You can go look at their campus map. I think they have one garage, or maybe it's like 1.5 garages on this campus, and they're really bizarre. And when I went to college and you had a parking garage, you had to pay for a pass. If you didn't have your parking pass and everything else within a certain amount of time, you were getting a ticket. Like it wasn't even 30 minutes. You were getting a ticket. I love how someone is saying right now that everybody has katana swords in their closet. What the heck? my viewers scare me. Apparently, I'm never coming to your house. Never coming to your house. Never, ever. I'm joking. And so you can see from the map that's on their website, it's pretty interactive, and you can look at all of that. You see the weird layers I was talking about. This is where that SUV was that Charlie was carried to, and he was driven off this way, reportedly. This is where Terrell took that footage where he stands up and says that they got Charlie. This is where you see some suspicious people not moving after all of that happens, that seem to be huddled up weirdly and not running away like the rest of everyone. And this is the walkway, the Hall of Flags, I think is what it's called. There are people standing up here. I think Life is Driving was actually right here-ish. The protesters were like in this area. This was allegedly closed off. And then from over here, it's a walkway kind of connecting different buildings. But this is where the Losi Center is, this LC. So we're told this person was right here and barely anyone saw them. And then the footage that recently came out on X that kind of went viral and everything, where people in all black tactical looking gear around this weird stairway area, if you remember, that I feel like is symbolized in those drawings, whether they are by someone we know or somebody that planted them for a patsy, which I think is more plausible, to be honest with you, after seeing all of these things and seeing how it looks like this man is psychologically broken down, which is so disheartening to read through social media profiles and everything else. They're over here by this stairway that leads to the literal Losi Center roof entrance. And I don't know why the news is not reporting on that. That's a very serious thing. And then we have one person that's up here jumping down right here. The weird car that we reviewed earlier being in this parking lot, skirting around like they're me driving in the road real fast, waiting here for that person to get down, allegedly drop the device they used over here right in the woods of this area, which is right behind a house that's allegedly Phil Lineman's family member or someone that he knows, a house that he was just in. And then it to me, that doesn't make any sense. It's not very plausible. None of this is. I don't think you would leave the weapon right there that you used. I just don't think you would. And then it just gets more weird the more you look at the whole thing. So it's all fake and gay to me, like Candace says. I don't believe a single thing that we're told. I don't believe that somebody randomly sent these things to Turkey Tom without having some type of incentive to throw people off or to discredit or make someone a patsy. We had multiple arrests at the point when Tyler turned himself in. He was like the fourth person that was a suspect and arrested or detained in this case, and he turned himself in, and it doesn't make any sense. So did Qureshi just have a better alibi? Why are we not talking more in the press, and why is the FBI and the investigation in the courtroom not talking more about the 911 calls that talk about a long-haired person walking around and taking a weapon to the hospital, walking around in long black tactical gear after the first arrest is made? That doesn't make any sense. And it's sad to me that people don't care about it. That could be any of our family members. That could be any of our children one day. That could be anyone you care about or yourself. And we should care about those things, and we should care about justice being served properly and equally, because there should be no special treatment of people. Okay. And then I also wanted to note, as I wrap up, today was my first time being monetized on here. So I wanted to thank, okay, hold on, I'm figuring it out. We are all coming over for the Katana Sword Slumby tonight. Okay, no, thank you. But maybe someday in public. I actually am signing up for fencing lessons. And I think, the sword, some of it has similar names and different things. I think there was someone in here talking about fencing the last time who was a professional fencer. I saw that. But I'm really excited to take fencing. I've always wanted to do it. growing up. And I was reading some of these comments as I was going through. But I wanted to note and thank, because I think I had 2 of them, so I need to scroll up really quick. Yes, so yay, my first live. So glad I discovered you. And I wanted to say thank you to Melissa Rudder, R2Z, for this super chat. This was my first super chat ever. So thank you. This made my day. I saw it right before I hit go live. So thank you so much for making my day. And then also Amy _AU. Amy is an OG. I didn't know you had supers now. Yay, you the bomb, Dom with jazz hands. So I don't bite my nails, everyone, but I did break this one. So I filed it down. Don't tell my nail lady. I haven't told her yet. She's going to be upset about it. I'm joking. But thank you guys so much. You should go watch Baron in 30 minutes. And I did want to say, actually like 25 minutes, I am going live on Tuesday about Laura Loomer. Not necessarily Laura Loomer, a person, but just her family, where she comes from. It's a very interesting rabbit trail I've been down. It was a rabbit hole I've been down. I would have never thought that Laura Loomer had a grandfather that married into the Aleister Crowley cult, the Thelma Love cult that had people kicked out of Italy, and that he was sued for, I love the Alex Jones thing. I always use that on Discord. But that he was sued for testing psych medication and then dropped from the lawsuit. It was this weird thing. His paperwork in America is really weird. We have a lot of different things going on in that family. Laura's also from Arizona originally. And I just think that she's really loud and likes to talk about everyone else. So how about we just talk about some facts and see if you or your ancestor were Loomered, because you may be entitled to some financial compensation. I think we all are after having to see that as well anyways. So I wanted to thank you all for coming. Can I blur her face? I'm not going to be talking about really anything to do with her bubbly personality. I am glad that she has the confidence to be herself so publicly. I am so happy for her that she feels comfortable enough to act like that in public. That takes a lot to do, to be your true self out there on X and everywhere else, and say that the president is calling you about the war. That's a ballsy move. You got some big balls. That's all I'm going to say. But thank you all. I saw some people in here that I really appreciated getting to know. Sorry about the Nightbot. I have to work on that. And I will also put in the description, Baron Coleman did a really nice episode about the definition of a patsy and patsies in general. And he's talked about a lot of things that I think a lot of you watch like I do. So please go give him a watch. If you would like to go back to that episode, I'll link it in the description. And I hope to see you on Tuesday. Not in the bad way. Not in the bad way. I meant like literally see you on Tuesday. And I just said the bad phrase. Not in a bad way. Talk to you all later.
IDontGiveADom, you found it today? Damn, dog. You should be making content. You should be making some content, bro.
Don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. She's under the keyboard, finding every crumb. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. Safari hat on. Here she comes.
So Barrel with me.
In my opinion, allegedly.
If I am not late, did I really show up?